Mouse. PI for Hire is a 1930s-inspired rubber hose animated first-person boomer shooter where you play as Jack Pepper, a PI investigating disappearances, murders, and the seedy underground crime of Mouseburg. I'm Tom the Wizard Man, and this is the Fake Wizards review of Mouse, PI for Hire. Inspired by the cartoons and noir aesthetics of the stories from the 1930s, Mouse is absolutely oozing with charm. The characters and level design, soundtrack, and atmosphere, while being influenced by other media, has its own identity and feel that had been invested into solving the mysteries plaguing Mouseburg. The noir cartoon crime aesthetic works as a fun parody of the mystery genre that doesn't take itself too seriously and isn't too goofy where everything comes off as a joke, leading to what I find to be a pretty good balance. I mean, you play as a character named Jack Pepper, which is just a play on pepper jack cheese. It's cheesy, alright, but still feels diegetic as a result of it being a cartoon. Speaking of the cartoon nature of it, I think they did a miraculous job of getting the rubber hose style of animation into this game. The bounciness of the characters, the gun animations, even the health and ammo logos on your HUD, all look incredible. It's honestly awesome to see how this game evolved from the first look we got almost 3 years ago. The gameplay is predominantly fast-paced boomer shooter style gunfights with mini arena shootouts and bosses, mixed in with detective work where you follow leads, talk to characters, and search for clues. Enemies are almost exclusively different types of rats, with reskins of characters depending on the environment you're in. You got bat rats, gun rats, fat rats, buff rats, little rats, all the rats are here. During my playthrough, I played on the hardest difficulty, and while I can't deny that I did die during several boss fights and shootouts where I got cheesed, this game is fairly easy. But the gun variety and gameplay loop of taking out criminals and goons is a lot of fun. I was eager to get to the next combat encounter during missions, figuring out what new weapon would be added to the arsenal, and seeing if there'd be a special boss during this level. However, I can't lie, it did leave me wanting more. You'll have areas where you have to clear out all of the guys before you can continue, and you'll get into that flow state of movement, weapon switching, and cartoon carnage, only for it to almost immediately end. It's happened several times where I've reached that high of getting into the game, only for it to end in a way that felt premature. It's a situation where I wish you'd have weaker enemies continue to spawn in as fodder to work around as you fight the special enemy archetypes, or maybe just include a wave or two of enemies extra. I should also mention, some of the guns are a little unbalanced. Take the James gun for instance. After you pick this up, you just mow everything down with it, where it doesn't feel necessary to switch to any other gun. And where the gameplay design of other games in the genre would be set up that ammo for that gun is less abundant to coax you into using it more sparingly, I felt like I was always able to find ammo for it. Regardless, the gameplay is fun. The level settings are fun and diverse as you go through the game, and exploring them for secrets finds you old newspapers, comic strips, blueprints for upgrades, and baseball cards which can be used in a minigame in the hub world, adding those extra bits to make the world feel a bit more dynamic and lived in. The story kept me engaged and interested, but it's far from perfect. Through the course of the game, you're following leads on 3 central mysteries, which intertwine and connect to each other. The more missions you do and clues you find, the closer you get to solving the mysteries. But having it be scattershot, you'll go several missions before learning anything about the character you were looking for in the first place. There's one mission in the swamp where you'll find an item you think belongs to the guy you'd been looking for. And it wasn't until Jack said, "Oh, so he was here," did I even remember that that was something we were doing. I understand the creative decision they were going for, but I think it might have benefited from it being more of a 3-act structure, with each act correlating to solving one of the mysteries. The mysteries themselves I found interesting, but also a bit predictable. Paying attention to context clues, the evidence, and using similar stories as reference, it's obvious the type of beats that the story is going to hit, even if you don't exactly know how they're going to hit them. It isn't Shakespeare-level writing, nor would I really want it to be for a game like this. Something that this game does do very well is utilizing the fact that this world is a cartoon. It allows the mysteries to go into more outlandish elements that would be a little too far-fetched otherwise. Having levels where you go from fighting goons and crooked cops to robots and cultists never took me out of the story. This game is very heavy on references, nods, and homages, not only to the 1930s stories it's emulating, but also to the other games in the boomer shooter category. However, I felt that this was done in a tasteful way. It doesn't feel like a copy or rip-off of another work, rather something that's done out of appreciation for the things that inspired it. Are there some jokes and quotes that fall flat? Definitely, but it was never enough to soil the experience. I do wish there was more variety than just rodents though, as non-rat characters are used in one-off instances or as uncommon enemy archetypes. But that's a personal gripe more than an actual problem. Also, this game is longer than I imagined it would be. When I thought I was halfway halfway through, it turns out I was only 30% of the way, which was a very pleasant surprise. The cycle can be a bit repetitive at times and doesn't quite carry the same oomph that it had when it began, but I was never bored or annoyed at playing it. This game is $30, and you're getting a 10 to 20 hour campaign, depending on if you're trying to 100% it, a fun gameplay loop, interesting story, all encapsulated inside a charming aesthetic and soundtrack. I think it's a steal. When I started writing this review, I felt that it was a good game teetering on being a great game. But over the course of writing it, I do believe that this is a great game. I give it an 8 out of 10 and highly recommend it.
You really are sleeping with fishes. Makes me calm. I'll just go.